Hey everybody, welcome back to the NC State Insider Podcast. I'm your host and lead beat writer, Tucker Sennett, joining you here today to discuss NC State men's basketball and their trip to the Maui Invitational. They'll tip things off today against Seton Hall in the opening round. That game's scheduled for 2:30 Eastern Time. So I wanted to run through the three keys for me for NC State to beat the Pirates. Before we dive into those, just a little bit about the Pirates. The Pirates are a team that forces a lot of turnovers, 17.2 per game through their first five games, led by head coach Shaheen Holloway, who kind of coaches his team the way that he played. He was, as Will Wade described, a pit bull guard at Seton Hall as a player. Um, really got after it on the defensive end and made you pay when he had to. And that's how his team kind of plays. They love to get out and create chaos and play that way. Not a great offensive group when they have to be. They kind of thrive in unconventional situations. So, that there's certainly ways to beat this team. It'll be a really unique challenge, different than anything NC State has faced so far. I mean, obviously they faced pretty consistent waves of pressure against VCU and didn't handle it particularly well, turning the ball over 17 times. But this is a little bit of a different animal. Not as good of a 3-point shooting team. So it'll be a unique challenge and certainly a difficult start for this team in Maui. So let's talk about the three keys for NC State to win this basketball game. And it starts, as I kind of already alluded to, with protecting the basketball. NC State is coming off of that 17 turnover performance a week ago against VCU. Will Wade was obviously not happy about that. The team, quite frankly, probably should have lost that game, but they won, and they're in a quality position as the only ranked team in Maui, and they need to trust the top guards and the top ball handlers. So can Quadir Copeland continue to kind of improve in the turnover department? Can Trey Holloman improve in the turnover department? Can Darian Williams go back to what he was doing in the first three games, turnover wise, with that high assists to turnover ratio? That was really, really impressive to begin the season. And, can you get some help handling the ball from some of your other options, like an Allen Breed, like a Matt Abel, who can come in and sort of spell those guys if they need some help. And then it comes down to can your other two players in the starting five or on the court with your other guards and Williams, can those guys help? Lubin, has had some Van Allen Lubin has had some turnover woes at times during the season. Um, Musa Sanya is not a guy that you want handling the ball in those situations, but if he can be smart and, hold the ball, get it to the right person at the right time, then, this team should be okay because, if Seton Hall, the amount of dependency that they have on these turnovers is high. That's kind of what they want to do. They want to create as many extra possessions as they can to give their weaker offense more opportunities. And so if you can limit those turnovers as much as possible, then that'll be really important for this NC State team to win this game. Second point is shooting the ball with consistency to avoid the sluggish start. We've seen this in one of the opening four games where NC State's come out a little bit cold. It was the UAB game and the Greensboro game to an extent. Not totally the Greensboro game. That was more external factors like officiating. But sorry. Um, you don't want to let Seton Hall be able to muck this game up because then you're letting them dictate how it's going to go. Um, so if you can come out and hit them with a similar barrage to the one that you hit VCU with, where you're knocking down your 3-point shots, you're attacking the basket successfully, that would be a really, really important thing for NC State. It also avoids, any risk of starting this game that starts really, really early for your guys. This is going to be a weird body clock game. Not sure how adjusted they'll be. Um, Obviously, they got out there a couple days early, and Will Wade's talked a lot about the sports science that they used to get the team ready for this trip. They woke the guys up on the plane, let them go back to sleep at points for that 10-hour plane ride. Um, so it's a unique situation because the game's at like 9:30 local time, but it's 2:30 here time. So I'm not sure what their, schedule is going to be. I don't know if they would rather have the guys be on kind of that Eastern clock because playing at 9:30 in the morning is hard for anybody. It doesn't matter how much sports science you have, and it's just not, your body's not awake yet to play a competitive basketball game. And the same thing goes for Seton Hall, of course, and I'm sure, they've dealt with similar issues, but if NC State can avoid that sort of slow start shooting the basketball and Seton Hall comes out a little bit shakier than they do, they can get out and run away with this one. My final key, beating the pressure down the floor. Seton Hall, is going to do similar things to VCU, try to set up in that pressure, try to fluster these guards. And if NC State can they ran some plays really successfully where, inbounded the ball to Williams or Sanya or Venn, and either Copeland or Holloman were able to come on a sort of handoff action and like a slingshot zoom down the court. They can do that and beat the pressure down the court with numbers, maybe a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 because they're quicker than everybody else, and then make the right read and get baskets in transition. That'll go a really long way in making this um, a much more efficient win, and give them a better chance to win the game overall. Because if you get bogged down in the press, you're just going to tire yourself out. This team's conditioned really, really well. So put that to the test. See if you can handle pressure for 40 minutes. Because that's what you're going to be put into. And if you can handle that pressure for 40 minutes, then you can beat anybody in this tournament. And I think, winning this first game is such a key thing for this tournament because you just want that momentum and it carries over from game to game to game. And if NC State can successfully eliminate that pressure, release the valve a little bit early in the game, maybe force them to go away from it a couple times. That would be a huge win, both morale wise and from a basketball standpoint, because you don't have to worry about it on every possession if they don't feel like it's effective. And if that's the case, you can really take control of this game. This game, again, scheduled to tip off at 2:30 Eastern time. It'll be on ESPN. Obviously a great event, iconic event. I'll have coverage for you. We'll have a recap coming out right away. And of course, we'll be talking more about the Maui Invitational on the NC State Insider podcast throughout the week. You can keep it right here for that coverage. Follow me on X at Senate Tucker. Follow the website on X at Wolfpack on SI. And of course, get more episodes of the NC State Insider podcast on the Sports Videos on SI YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in.